We're in the middle of cleaning for Pesach, so normally we would not have a shiur, but because of the special time that we just got out of, I said we'll have something quickly. And I do apologize in Elazar's name. He doesn't have reception, and he gave me a couple of good excuses why we started late and why things are not working properly. So Bezrat Hashem, everything should work properly. We also we had a bris of our good friend Aviv Muyal in Kfar Chabad, and the Rav was not able to show. So Bezrat Hashem, our Rav Yitzchak Feibish ben Breina Malka should have very strong health and should be able to show everywhere. This Shabbat that we just got out of, Shabbat Agadol, Shabbat Metzorah, falls on a very, very special date for us. The date is Chet Nisan, the 8th day of Chodesh Nisan. And the special time of year is very dear and special to us, to this generation. What happened is, and this is 26 years ago, Rav Ginsburg was put in jail in Adar. It was a time of transitions in presidents, and Rav Ginsburg had a shiur. It was a very sad time that many Jews were killed in different bombings, and Rav Ginsburg had several shiurim about the fact that we need to take revenge in order to be able to bring the uprising of us as Jewish people in this land of Israel. And although the general concept of the right type of let's call it right type of price tag or revenge that should be taken is something that that is expected from the government and from the army, the government and the army were not going to do it, nor were they going to let anybody tell them what to do or get involved. So they put Rabbi Ginsburg in jail. We need to say, obviously, that as a general rule, the peace that became upon us as a nation is excuse me 1 second. One second, sorry. Baruch Hashem, all the dust from cleaning from Pesach is very has a good effect. But the statement that I heard is that Rav Ginsburg said that nekama, which is the right, let's call it price tag and revenge, and on the other hand, the word kuma, which is the uprise of a nation, they go hand to hand. I mean, we could see that the fact that, and it's very simple in the nations, that the fact that Russia saw that no one is going to give her real, that the price for invading Ukraine is not going to be real effective, that unfortunately brought upon the war. Everyone understands that if Russia would have thought that, you know, everyone will go crazy, that the world would let's call it start a war against her if she does that, if Russia attacks, the attack would not happen, meaning in order to create the right balance, you have to have the effect of, let's call it, of a price. But anyways, it's something very simple that even today is very easy to understand. The Israeli government was very, very, very nervous about. And in Adar, they came and they put Reb Ginsburg in jail. And the general idea was that he was instigating and people, and they were scared of his Torah. And after that, he was brought to the Supreme Court, and he was in front of a judge. Her name is Dorner. What's her first name? Dorit Dorner, I think. She was a brilliant judge, according to the Rav. And he had three times that he was brought in front of her. The second time, she allowed something that usually does not happen, and she allowed him to speak. So Rav Ginsburg spoke, and we don't have a record of it. There was obviously in closed doors. The whole system was very scared of Rabbi Ginsburg, so it was in closed doors. But a friend of ours went to the lawyer, who's not in good health these days. He should also be healthy. And he told him what a little bit about what Rabbi Ginsburg said there. And Rabbi Ginsburg said that he was, he said, I'm standing in front of you with a Haredi suit and hat and a gartel, but he said, I wasn't born like this. I was born in America. Interestingly enough, Rabbi Ginsburg said that he protested against the Vietnam War, to end the war. And he went to school in Chicago, I think, to learn mathematics. And he thought to be a mathematician. And the way it sounded is what Rav Ginsburg was saying is that in the free world, in general, the one thing that you should be, as a teacher, that you should be afraid of is putting a dogma in front of your students, meaning telling them that there's only one way and one thought, one train of thought that is allowed, and you cannot say anything else. If you do that, Rav Ginsburg said that I was brought up in Chicago and there I learned it, and then I met the Lubavitch Rebbe, our Rebbe from Lubavitch, or Menachem Mendel, which this week is his 120th birthday of his neshama being brought to this world. And he said that both of these teachers of mine were for what we call freedom of speech. They were free. They were not afraid of learning and understanding. And he said, and that's what I was taught. So very interesting. The judge looks at him. Excuse me. Sorry about that. The judge looks at him and she tells him, well, what happens if one of your students takes your teachings and does the wrong thing with them? So Rav Ginsburg answered that he has three options. And in general, the problem of having a student that does not understand and does the wrong thing is a problem that our sages have throughout time, that in general you have when you teach. And there are three options. That's what, again, this is all the speech that Rav Ginsburg is giving to the judge in the Israeli government that's in charge of either keeping him in jail or releasing him based on her understanding if he's dangerous or not. That's the general concept. So he told her he had three options. Option number one is to not say anything, is to be quiet. if you're scared of what you're gonna say, then you can just not say anything. Option number 2 is to lie. Chas v'shalom. We know that both of these options are not acceptable. And option number 3 is to say what you're going to say and to pray that your teachings will be accepted and that people will do the right thing. That was the 3 options. And as Rabbi Ginsburg was talking, the judge was looking at the prosecutor and telling them, "What are you doing? Why did you bring me this person, this highly intellectual person? This is not your street gangster that you pull into court like this." It was a beautiful thing that at the end of the court case, everyone agreed that Rav Ginsburg should be released. Both the prosecution and the judge, and obviously our side, the defender, everyone agreed that Rav Ginsburg should be released. Even now, I was told that they called the judge to try to interview her this year. One of our friends was looking into it, and the judge said, I'm not going to interview, I'm not going to tell you anything, but you should take care of your Rav." So it's a beautiful thing that even the enemies, supposed enemies, agree with you and care for you and respect you. So very important time. And during that, and on the 8th day of Nissan was the special time that Rav Ginsburg was released, and there was a huge gathering by Kfar Chabad. Rav Ginsburg there's a famous picture. I should have downloaded the picture, a beautiful picture that shows Rav Ginsburg. Maybe I should find it quickly. It's just very quickly. Let's see if I can share a screen. 1 second. Let me see. Sorry, I didn't prepare it, but let me try to share the screen with the picture. I don't have the best picture. I'll just show the quick one. It's one angle of the picture. You can see in the screen. Let me see. Can you see the screen? Let me see what you're able to see. I'm not sure if you're able to see, but if you're able to see, you see Rav Ginsburg being carried on the shoulder of a very tall guy, and right behind him, everyone is singing. Okay, great. So that's there's a big picture of this. Maybe if I find it, I can email it. But it was everyone was very happy, and everyone in Eretz Israel and everywhere were very happy that Rav Ginsburg was released. It's a very happy time. But the day that Rav Ginsburg was released, the special day is the 8th day of Nissan, which was this Shabbat. It fell on this Shabbat. The 8th day of Nissan, okay. The 8th day of Nissan numerically equals to the word Chefetz. Chefetz is usually translated probably as desire. Chefetz Hashem, or Hashem Chafetz Leman Zidko. It's brought in many different psukim. It's a very special word. What do we learn from this word? That we learn we learn both the fact that Hashem wants us and that we need to want Him. Hashem chafetz liman titko yagdil Torah v'yadir, we say every time that Hashem wants something. Now, there are three, if we look at the tree of life, Etz HaChaim, there are three levels above us. There are three levels of the crown, three heads of the crown. In Kabbalah, they're called Reisha de Arich, Reisha de Ain, Reisha de Arich, and Radla, which in this generation, a great chidush by Rav Ginsburg, that they're translated to faith, emunah, and below that is ta'anug, which is pleasure, and below that is ratzon, is will. Now, ratzon, simple will, when you want something, it comes from the fact that you don't have something. You can't want something if you have it. So that is why will, meaning the desire for something, is almost contra to pleasure. Because pleasure is something that you have, that you enjoy, and will is that something that you want because you don't have it. You can't want something if you have it. You only want something that you don't have. So those are the three levels: faith, emunah, ta'anug, pleasure, and then will, you want something. Chefetz, which is this word that is numerically equal to the 8th day of Nisan. Chefetz is the desire for something, where you want something, you have the will for something, but that will is connected to the pleasure that you see that you're going to have from it, which is very important, the connection. The connection between pleasure, that if we want to explain what chefetz is in very simple terms, is that, let's say you want to see your friend, but at the same time that you want to see him, you have a tremendous enjoyment from the fact that you have a friend and from the fact that you're going to see him, etc. Meaning it has the pleasure built in at the same time as you have the will for something. The same time that you have the desire, the will for it, you also have the pleasure for it. One. Lots of technical problems, Baruch Hashem. It's the time before Pesach is always a time where things are very rough on the technical level, just like a Friday for every frum person has a time of stress. The same thing, the time before Pesach has a lot of stress built in. And in general, before a geula, before we get redeemed, there's a lot of stress. Now, this stress has to do with what we're saying, that before, you're not just sitting back, let's say at the time of the geula of Pesach, where we got out of Egypt, or at the time of any geula, before the actual redemption, before the time where Hashem came and got us out of Egypt, it was a very stressed time. It almost looked like things are going the wrong direction, just like in Purim. Anyone that reads the Torah portion that speaks about this really connects to Am Yisrael, where everything is going in terrible places, but at the end of the day, everything is on one level. And then comes Moshe to Egypt, and Pharaoh goes crazy and gives us the nation of Israel new gezeros to go and collect concrete and etc. It gets worse before it gets better. So at the same time, why is that? Because there's a will for something. You want to get out of Egypt, And that will automatically creates tension. So will is something that has tension. To put pleasure within will has to be something that's really pleasurable within. So having the connection between Hashem and us, and the way we connect to Him and He connects to us, could have this chefetz, could have this connection that has will, the desire to be close to Hashem, at the same time as to gain derive pleasure from it. So again, the highest level, the first level is emunah, is faith. What Rav Ginsburg said, which to me was a strong statement, is that this week's wonders is that you have to have faith in. We usually say that there are three things that we need whole. We need to be complete. One is Am Yisrael, that we care for every Jew. We can't say that we as a nation can be complete without a certain Jew or a group of Jews. For example, we can't say we're living in Eretz Yisrael or in America or in Canada, etc., and the Jews in Chas v'Shalom in Ukraine we don't care about. We don't have that. Am Yisrael needs to be whole, and we care about every Jew. The same thing about Eretz Yisrael. We care about our land. We can't say, we'll sacrifice a certain piece of our land and get some land in Canada. That's not how it works. Eretz Yisrael, our land, needs to be whole, needs to be connected to us. And our Torah, we can't say we'll keep a certain part of the Torah and certain part, Chas v'Shalom, is not relevant. That's not how it works. All of these things need to be whole, need to be complete. Same thing, we need to have faith in all of these things. This is something very deep. A person needs to have real faith in Am Yisrael, in every Jew. We need to have faith in a Jew that he wants to do good and that he has potential, he has real potential to thrive. That's faith in Jews, in Am Yisrael. We need to have faith in Eretz Yisrael. We need to believe in our land. We were just driving today with the kids. We went to Kfar Chabad, as I said, to a bris of our friend Muyal. And on the way, we saw many trees. So the kids asked my wife about it, and my wife explained that they planted these trees because they had a huge swamp, and people were dying from malaria and different diseases. And they planted the trees in order to overcome it. And that was very strong. It was a very strong statement that Jews believe in Eretz Yisrael. We believe in our land. We've always believed in our land. For 2,000 years, Jews were not in Eretz Yisrael, and every day they would pray for it and believe that we're going to it. And actually, if anyone followed the news, just a week ago or two, they came out with a statement that they have found something that's thousands of years old, but has the name of Hashem in it. That it was something I know about from the time that we speak about that Am Yisrael went to Eretz Yisrael. So we have very deep connection to our land, to the land of Israel, and we need to have faith in our land. Just like we need to have faith in every Jew, we need to have faith in our land.
Terrifying James recovery of water bubbles. Certainly remembers a man who creates his signature.
Again, Elazar apologized that he doesn't have reception today. So we have faith in the land of Israel, faith in the nation of Israel, and faith in Torah. We need to have real faith in Torah. If anybody knows, the Daf Yomi, where many Jews throughout the world is learning the same page of Gemara every day, and this time the Gemara speaks about Yavamos, which is a very rare case where a person passes away and his wife, and he did not have children, so his wife does halacha that even is not really kept these days for several reasons. that the person that passes away, his wife, needs to go to her to the brother. Again, one more second. Sorry about that. So when I was learning the Daf Yomi in the shul, a person walked over to me and I told him that sometimes in order to learn Torah, you have to have real faith that there is something here. Because otherwise, when you read, you think, what is the relevance? What is the relevance of this Gemara to me? And I don't know. I'm not able to answer that. Our beloved Rav Ginsburg, one of the beautiful things is that he's able many times to sit and teach a simple Daf Gemara and show the inner parts of it and how it connects to us every day. But that's very rare people in our generation, in this world, are able to connect Torah in that simplicity. For us, we can't do that. So what do? We connect through faith. We have real faith in Torah. Now, what do we do with this faith? How does this faith come to us? The way it comes to us is that we have faith and we eat our faith. Eating it is like eating the matzah. Matzah is called the food of faith. Meichala, the meimanuta, the food of faith. Why is that? Because we made matzah, I mean, in the simple explanation, we made matzah and we went into the desert. We didn't know what was going to happen. We just went, Lechtecha charai b'midbar, that you went after me. Hashem says that I remember the fact that you went after me into the desert. Going into the desert is not like today where you can know maps and know where you're going. It's just going into sand. And we went after Hashem. We had real faith. So that the matzah that we eat connects us to that faith. So we said that faith is the highest level, and then there is pleasure and will, which could be combined if you're doing it correctly, and they bring into what's below them in the tree of life is knowledge, which is connection. Meaning our goal is to take our faith, and we discussed all these different faiths that we should have, and connected with a very strong connection to this world. That is knowledge. That you know that there is Hashem, that there is, you don't just have faith in Hashem as something that is not connected, but rather that the faith is connected. I was going through an estimate of paint. A painter came, everybody probably knows that on Erev Pesach, one of the things you do, many people do, is they paint their home. So we were thinking about it, and we took a painter, and the painter went and gave us an estimate. And I told my wife that many times when you can see when a person has real faith in Hashem simply, that he's able to give a number in an estimate, estimating a paint job, but he's able to be comfortable with that number. But many times I feel that someone is giving a number and he's doing it very uncomfortably. He doesn't feel that he's doing the right thing. But why does he do it? Because he's very scared that the other person would take advantage of him. So because of that, he needs to start very high, or he needs to even he thinks that if everyone takes advantage of everyone, then I need to also take advantage of other people. Otherwise, I would be underperforming, let's call it. So it's a bit complex, but what I'm trying to say is that a person with faith, he's not worried. He's able to be connected to what he's giving, whether it's an estimate or whether it's saying something of Torah, as we spoke about in the beginning about Rav Ginsburg and his teaching. The way you're able to teach something and not be scared that you're saying the wrong thing is faith. And that faith is our matzah that we eat. And the way we connect the faith from the outside, from being something that's the highest level connection and connecting it to this world, having it to a level of knowledge. When you know something, you don't have faith in it. Meaning having faith by default, if we think about it, if someone says, believe me, he's saying it because you can't see it. If you're seeing something, if you know it, then you don't need to believe it. Believing in something is by default something that you're not seeing. But what we are saying is that when you take our matzah, when you take our chefetz is the will and desire and the pleasure, and you do it right and you bring it to this world, then your faith is going to be something that shows in your knowledge in your day-to-day. So that's a little bit of what we wanted to say based on this week's wonders. Everyone should have, maybe we'll take a couple of questions, but the cleaning for Pesach has a real deep meaning for us in connection. Meaning one of the reasons every year, I'm sure every family has a debate whether to clean the house for Pesach or whether to go, Baruch Hashem, there are several places that people can go and just sell the house. And I feel that there's an advantage to both sides. But one of the advantages of cleaning is that when you clean something, you connect to it. There are many stories about righteous people in the Gemara that preparing for Shabbos, they would be involved. One Tana did this and one Amora did that, and every person had the job that he did for Shabbat. Why is that? To connect. We say when we build the sukkah, so we say that even the most respected and holiest person should be involved in building the sukkah, because when you do something, when you clean for Pesach, you connect to Pesach. You bring the faith that we are going to be redeemed, the faith of Pesach, the emunah of Pesach, you bring it into this world. And how do you do it? By cleaning. So we should all, especially the mitzvah of Pesach cleaning is very much connected to women. There was a great gathering in Rosh Chodesh Nisan last week on Sunday. There was a gathering for preparation for Nisan, a women gathering, and Rav Ginsburg gave a letter to it. It's in this week's Wonders. So in general, it's a great time to connect, and the connection, what we connect to is our faith, is our emunah. So if there's any questions, we'll try to answer, and then everyone can go back, including myself, to the dust and the cleaning, to be elevated, to bring our emunah to our day-to-day. So if anyone can't unmute, let me know. You can put in the chat. I can. Sure, no problem. I try. Sorry for all the technical difficulties that we had this week. Any questions? If not, then I wish everyone Chag Kasher v'Sameach. Next week there will not be a class. We'll all be Bezrat Hashem enjoying our Passover with the family, with friends, with anyone that we can connect to, and obviously connecting to Hashem. So Chag Pesach Kasher v'Sameach. We always say that we want it to be kosher, but we also want us to be happy, because when someone is happy, you know that he's connected. If it's kosher but not happy, it's not really kosher. So everyone should have a Chag Pesach Kasher and Sameach, and very happy that this has to do with what we spoke about, that the will, when you want something, has to come together with the pleasure in order to bring it to this world. You can't be detached. So we should all be attached to our emunah. Amen. Chag Sameach.